everybody. We are here for Claws Out episode. Let me get live everywhere. I'm so sorry. Hi, TikTok. Give me 1 second. Let me get live on Podbean and we will get started. I am here today, Claws Out episode 8, and I have a really exciting treat for everybody. We have with us back Josh. He was the author of the book, The Flip Side. I'm sorry, let me start over because I'm just now live on Podbean. All right, we're live everywhere, guys. I'm going to start over. I send the link over to our guest tonight. We have a really special treat. We have with us the book The Flip Side, Different Sides of the Same Coin, which I think is an amazingly inspirational book. I read it all the time. I'm getting ready to start a series of lives on TikTok where I read some of them and where I read some of his passages, and he's going to actually pop in some and help me with some sometimes. And I really think that when his book hits the right hands, it will be the next piece of recovery literature. I truly, truly believe that. Give me 1 minute to get the link sent out to him. Okay, oops. Sorry. Did the wrong thing. All right, guys, give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. Nobody's watching right now. If you're watching on social media, please just give me a second and we will get all of it taken care of. As soon as I sent the link out to Josh, he'll be with us shortly. And he is very good, really good charisma. Anybody who hasn't met him yet or didn't see the episode that he was on, I think you'll really enjoy this one. He really has a good aura about him. Making sure I'm got all the chats connected and I'm everywhere I want to be because I want this episode to get out there because I really enjoyed his last book. I honestly have not read a book because it just came out recently and I've not had a chance yet to buy it, but I'm going to. But if it is anything like his last book, or if his last book has any, says anything about his new books, and I just as amazing as the first one. And I don't actually think the other book that we talked about was his first book either. I think Josh has wrote several books. I think none of them. I think the Flip Side was the one that has got the most attention and has got to be the biggest so far. But he does have, I think, several other books out. Give me 1 second. Let me tell him that I sent this because I told him I would because I got caught up. I'm still navigating and learning to navigate the all the technology and the links and the every time I stream I have to type in the code. So I gotta here he is. I said let me know that I sent the link because I sent it a few minutes later than I had said because I got I'm still navigating all the software like when every time you stream on Instagram you have to change the RTPM codes and TikTok is the same in a Facebook group. So like sometimes I don't know. It's a lot.
It's all good. It's all good.
But I actually
You've been doing all right?
I've been doing very well. Thank you so much. Josh actually was not supposed to be on my show tonight. We planned this 1 hour ago. My guest actually, anybody watching, keep her in her prayers. She has been having a lot of health trouble. That's actually what she was going to talk about today. Is some health trouble that she's having that is like related to her addiction. That now years later, she's been clean for 7 or 8 years, and she's having like some major health issues, and she was having health pains tonight, and they took her to the hospital. So everybody keep her in her prayers, and she's a really good friend of mine actually. So I hope she is okay. But so Josh stepped in, and he decided that he would come and he's wrote another book since the last time that we saw it published. So he's going to tell us about his new book, and if anybody's watching, we'll take questions and do all the fun stuff. So I will give you the floor and let you tell about your book.
Oh, it's just about a carpenter and a drunk who saved my life. And so I just basically give like a story, and then I give like a Bible story that coincides with it, and then I give a step connection to it, and then a prayer at the end. There's always scripture because God is the solution. So I make sure that I transmit that, you know. I don't sell recovery, I share it. I think it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important to share everything, anything that we can, any source of information or motivational quote or, tiny bit of inspiration that we might think like is nothing or just, inconsequential could mean huge to somebody, and we never know. I think it really is important. Like recovery is one of those things like community and support is detrimental to success. Like you have to have, I think as much support you can get and sharing with other people. And I think it helps me to share my story as much as it might the person that hears it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if my writings help anybody, but they help me. So, it helps me. And also it's kind of like I'm doing an inventory of, so I'll have a situation and then I'll think about it. And then, I'll go through the route, and then uh, something happens, my emotions, so I've always, dictated how I react to stuff, and that's what I did in the madness. So I sit and think on it, and then logic breaks through, and then I write about it, If nothing else, it helps me, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So everything I write about is like me and my daughter had a conversation about something, and so I was like, it really messed with me, the thing that happened, and I was like, man, and it's not her fault or anything. It's nobody's fault, right? It's just it's my stuff. So I had to not be mean and, just be transparent with her and be like, this is what's going on. This is why I'm like this. And this is, there's nothing against you, but I have to protect my sobriety. Sometimes I have to remove myself from certain people. I just don't need to be, not every open door needs to be walked through. You know what I mean? Like you get sober and then like everybody thinks you're just going to go home and be like, everybody loved me. No, it's not the case. And, and if I inventory that, whose fault? It's me. It's my fault. Even though like people are mad at stuff that happened 10 years ago, right? That's unfair, but it's still my fault. So if I honestly do inventory, I really got to take a look at that and not put expectations on people and situations, and sometimes not even going around. So, it wouldn't do me any good. My sobriety has to come first. So
that's one of my biggest things that I struggle with even still now, as far into recovery as I have, I still struggle with like, I think people should forgive, like there are still people that have not forgiven me in 8 years, for things that I did. And that's their right because I did the wrong, like I definitely deserve, and I can't, but I want them. I'm like, well, you should just forgive me because I'm clean and I'm doing good. And like, and that's, we can't make them. And I struggle with that because we have to accept that. And it's hard for me.
yeah, that's just selfishness in a new suit. You know what I mean? It is. And it's hard. It's not easy. You know what I mean? But nobody said it was going to be easy. I hate when people say it to me. It's like the sayings that really irk me are the ones that are so true. It's like, I know you're going to say, but you're so right. But forget you.
I know you're like, oh, like how dare you call me out because we don't like that. I'm always like to always be right.
Yeah,
especially
yeah. And my feelings are only ones that matter too.
Yeah.
Like I'm not worried about your feelings, bro. My feelings are hurt right now. You know what I'm saying? So how dare you?
Yeah, how dare you not, throw me a party for, for being clean or whatever. Like because I'm
Yeah.
proud of myself, and everybody doesn't have to celebrate my success or acknowledge it, and that's I'm like, but I'm doing so good. Like, how could you not, how could you not forgive me? And you know,
Yeah. It's I wrote about that on my writings. It's grandpa wisdom. My grandpa always say, "You don't get a pat on the back for doing what you're supposed to do," and that's so true in recovery. Like we're
it's
just started to do what we're supposed to do. It's like you don't get a pat on the back for that.
yeah.
You just don't.
I
So it's like,
normal people are like, and I'm like so proud of myself. Like, they're
yeah.
like your
Like, look at
third.
me. Yeah, it's like I'm paying taxes now. I can complain about food stamps and this and that now. Woo!
People
It's
are like,
just crazy, man.
you always? I'm like, no, no, not at all.
It's good times. But I'll
Yeah,
read you one of the things out of my book, and then we can talk about whatever. I don't care really.
absolutely.
Um, it's called "Have Arrived." How many times have we been at a meeting and heard someone say, "I have arrived"? That universal feeling among us addicts. But why? But why is that? It's because we're wired differently. We're genetically predisposed. We don't get the same steady drip of those rewarding chemicals, the dopamine, serotonin that normal people do. When we walk through life feeling irritable, restless, and discontent long before we ever pick up a drink or a drug. So we chase anything that gives us that drip. We run a mile a minute until we burn out, or we overindulge in food, sex, chaos, whatever gives us that chemical release for a moment. That "I have arrived" feeling is the rush from those rewarding chemicals lighting up our starving brains. But here's the thing: when a person who isn't genetically wired like us takes a drink or drug, they don't get that same feeling. It's not intense. It's not as intense. That's why the phenomenon of craving grabs hold of us and the power of choice gets ripped away. Our brain gets hijacked. That's why we experience what's called euphoric recall, that obsession with remembering the high and forgetting the hell that followed. It's why we have to properly arm ourselves with facts about who we are and what we suffer from if we ever want to truly heal. From a biblical standpoint, this runs even deeper. We may feel different from others, either much worse or much better. We might look down on ourselves or constantly compare our mess to the good people. Or if our addiction seems more socially acceptable, we justify them by pointing out how someone else is worse. But the word says otherwise. As the scriptures say, no one is righteous, not even one. No one is truly wise. No one is seeking God. All have turned away and all have become useless. Romans 3:12, 3:10, 12. Whether we're chasing a high, a feeling, or a false sense of control, none of us are exempt. We're all broken and need grace. And when we finally stop chasing that chemical arrival and start chasing God, that's when the real healing begins. Step one is we admitted we were powerless over our addictions and our lives had become unmanageable. This is that moment of truth when we realize that "I have arrived" feeling was a lie. We weren't arriving anywhere. We were running from ourselves. Step one brings us face to face with the truth that we've been chasing false freedom while God was offering us real freedom all along.
I know, like, what that made me think of a lot is that, like, how in my addiction, like, I don't know if this necessarily is like I have arrived, but like how just, we all thought we were hot shit. Like, we were all doing, doing the big thing, could we bought whatever, a big sack or whatever, or we're selling it, or like we thought, I thought I was the coolest. Like, and I thought, like,
Yeah,
I guess, like, I looked up to my dad, and that's like what he did. So like when I was doing those things, like I really thought that I was like being cool and doing big things. And then once I got clean, hold on, baby. I don't know where your pillow is. Once I got clean, realized that, honey, will you find his pillow, please? Once I got clean and realized that, like this is what it's supposed to be about. Like, this is big things. Like, even the little things are big things, like getting married and having kids and going to work every day and like that, that's what that
yeah.
put me in of is just.
Yeah,
how
and I just heard it like so many times. I'd be at a meeting, and then there's a speaker meeting, and the guy would get up there, and he's like, "Well, I remember when I first did his drug of choice, and I knew I had arrived. And I was like, why does everybody feel like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be something to it." And so, of course, I go look up like 25 different things over the course of the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, that's because our brains are wired different. And so people would just go around and just think that drugs are the problem, and they're not. The drugs ain't the problem. It's the things we use to fix our problems.
yeah,
And the steps are laid out to find out that very thing. But people want to recover, but you can't recover until the problem is properly identified. And so if you're out there struggling, just get into the steps, find out what your real problem is, because healing don't begin until that's identified.
yeah, absolutely. That's like you can't heal until you like really take a look at yourself, and you have to forgive yourself too for the things that you've done. All that comes later, I know, but yeah, like oh, and I love how you just said like the drugs aren't the problem. What a lot of people don't realize, like and this goes for the people that have such a negative stigma on addicts, and like we don't do drugs to do drugs. We do drugs to mask another problem or to cover something up, to make us feel right or normal, because we don't like drugs aren't an issue. There is another underlying problem, and 99% of the time, like you said, once you solve that problem, then recovery just follows.
Yeah, I'm addicted to the changing the way I feel, and drugs are the fastest way to do that. Now, I'm not. Drugs ain't the only thing that I can get addicted to, right? Because there's a million things out there that could change the way I feel, and so drugs are just the quickest route to making me change the way I feel. Like I don't feel the way I want to right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or I'm really happy. I want to be happier, or uh, whatever the case may be. But I'm addicted to changing the way I feel. Like when I try to be as educational as I can, but I keep it on me. So I'm addicted to dopamine. I love the dopamine spikes,
Yeah.
and I'm not addicted to the drugs. The drugs are just the substance I use to get what I want. What I want is that dopamine spike, and so that's what I'm addicted to.
I like that. I've never heard that before, but like think like for something for myself, like I use drugs to enhance every situation. Like rather, if I was sad, I used them to get happy. If I was happy, then let's have a better time. If I was, it's like whatever drug, like they were the answer no matter. If I was cold, then surely, let's do drugs and that's gonna make it. But like just whatever the problem, like I just thought that was the answer to all of my problems, and
Yeah,
and it wasn't like
because
it was the problem.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're addicted to changing the way we feel. Most people just, I remember when I first got into detox, and a guy was sitting in. I think I was maybe told this the story last time, but I don't know if I did. But this dude knows me. He knows I've been shooting heroin. This is like back in 2016. I still haven't took opiates since then, but I've tried some other stuff. It didn't work out either. But I walked into detox, and he was sitting behind the desk. I'm like, I used to get out of this dude. And he's like, "What's your problem?" And I just looked at him, and I was like, "What?" He goes, "What's your problem?" I said, "Beep, beep, beep. I get high, beep, beep, beep." And he goes, "That's not your problem." And I was so mad, but I was so dope sick I couldn't fight. And he could tell that I was wanting to fight. He just said, "Calm down, don't beat me up. Here's a cigarette." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Just stick and stay, and you'll figure it out. We'll figure it out." And I was like, and then finally, uh, I knew what he was talking about. But at the time, I'm like, what? I was just mind blown. I'm like, "What are you talking
Isn't that
about, bro?"
crazy? Like how you were so mad and so dead set that he was like being an asshole or something. And then like now
Yeah,
you like totally get it. That's so crazy how our whole world perspective changes.
yeah, it's
Uh,
the Mr. Miyagi effect.
we have a comment. And someone they sent us a few minutes ago, but they said, I
Okay.
say often that it's not the world's job to tiptoe around me. It's my job to be aware of myself and my surroundings. So yeah.
Amen. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Somebody
People
said
shouldn't have
that.
to tiptoe around us. Like we should, that's on us to control ourselves. That's something else that I had to learned too that, like, as a normal adult, like, people, we don't just fly off the handle at every little stupid thing, and treat other respect. And I know, like, this sounds so, I don't know, but like when I was in treatment, I kept getting in trouble for like disrespect for like things that I didn't even know. I was being such a shitty person, and I didn't even realize, like, they like that really did that was one thing that when I was in treatment, that I was not caring, or even acting like I cared at that point. But that is something that did stick with me. I guess subconsciously I must have been caring a little bit, because that I kept getting in trouble for like disrespect, and I was like, I wasn't even trying to be disrespectful, but like now looking back, like, was very disrespectful, rolling my eyes, and just not being open to what they had to say to me. I didn't want to hear it. They couldn't tell me anything, and I didn't have a
Yeah.
problem. So
I was just mad at myself for not getting high. I took it out on them because I couldn't get high successfully. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I can't get high. I'm not good at it, right? Like, I can't do it successfully. And so I'm just mad at everybody and everything because you can't be mad at yourself. You know what I mean?
right.
So, yeah. Like, I remember somebody telling me, like, borrow someone else's brain. And I was like, what, man? And he was like, dude, he goes, it's not even the choices that you're making, it's the way you make choices. He said, you just need to borrow someone else's brain and not make any decisions. And as I get through I'm like, he was so right,
Yeah.
like I remember I couldn't even do a selfless act. Like, I would screw that up. And that's like, to a normal person, that might be, sound crazy, but like, I always had a payoff, always an angle. So I didn't know what real selfless meant, So my sponsor that's why I called him my first one, is Mr. Miyagi, because he would have me do stuff, and I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. It was like I was prepping for a karate tournament I never signed up for, and like he would give me a task to do, and I'd be like, whatever, bro. I would cuss him out, but I would do it because I really wanted to change. And he put up with me, thank God for that. And then later on, I'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. Wax on, wax off. But really, he's learning how to block. You know what I'm saying? And so it wasn't about buffing cars. It was about buffing my soul.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Whenever I was in treatment, I don't know, that I feel so bad for my counselors and stuff, because some of them really did try, and you couldn't, like I said, you couldn't tell me anything. It was really hard for me to even pretend like I cared when I would go home in the evenings, and like, everybody in my house was so high they couldn't even get on the phone without not, you know what I mean? And so then I would be mad that I wasn't there with them getting high, because that's what I wanted to do at that time in my life. So then I would just be so shitty and disrespectful, and I really wasted that time. And looking back, like, I wish so hard that I would have used that time better, and really, maybe things would, and now everything happens for a reason, and I'm super happy with my life. Just the things that I look back and think how stupid we were back then. Like,
Yeah.
it
But
was like
God, yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, it was like I was vicariously, like, I would, in my head, I would wait all day. So, and like when you first get there, you could only call home like once a week, stuff like that. I would wait in my mind the whole call home, just like to hear them getting high and hear them being high. Like in my head, I was somehow getting high with them. Like, that's how screwed up I was. And
Yeah.
my counselors, they just, I mean, I don't know, they got me through it somehow, and apparently something did stick, because shortly after that was when I was kind of like, I think that was the first time that anybody had made me feel like it was maybe even possible for me, I guess. So I guess subconsciously, like, I did kind of take a little bit away from it, but I was just too stubborn in the moment to think about it like that or whatever. But
Yeah. It's funny how God will put people in our path when we become broken enough to listen.
yeah,
Like, like, and like the seeds will be planted, but it's just the right person comes at the right time when I was ready to listen, and I don't even know. I just remember just being broken. But I remember, so I went through the healing place in 2016. So they had a payphone. And there they have a bunch of outside meetings going on, and the healing place has nothing to do with it. So you had to go borrow a quarter. Well, the only people that had quarters here were the people from outside, the outside come to meetings and they're old timers and stuff, whatever. And they know why you're asking for a quarter because you want to go in there and use the phone after the meeting. And so I went and got this dude named Ahmed. He gave me a quarter. And he asked me, he goes, what do you need the quarter for? He already knew the answer. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, I'm going to call home. And he gave it to me. He said, look, this time don't ask for nothing. Tell me you're all right, and you'll call them back in a few months, and you love them. Give them people enough time to heal. And so I was like, man, forget you, dog. I need cigarettes and everything. I need stuff. And so, but there's a line, and what he told me was a seed planted. And so by the time I got to the phone, I was like, man, I love you, Dad. I don't need anything. I'll call you in a couple months. But it's just those people give us suggestions, but if we don't ever take them, then they're not. But I was about that time though. I was so broken. I was just ready for something, and I didn't believe it. But I was like, look, man, if it worked for them, maybe it worked for me too. And it did.
That's how I got to a point in my life where like it was just so bad where I was like, I have to try to get something, like I have to try something, like fail fine, but like something has got to be different. And it took me a couple tries, but I did get it. But for most of my life until I like literally didn't even think, like I didn't even know recovery was a thing, like the treatment centers, which I know like recovery wasn't as big back then as it is now, but like still there was still treatment centers and stuff. Like I had never even like heard of that thing. Like I know when in 2018 or 2019, Brown County, Ohio sent me to this facility called St. Lucy's, and they were like, it was like a sober living. It wasn't like a lockdown facility or anything like that. It was just like a sober living. And I left there. I was still sick. I was only in county jail for like a week, and I did heroin and stuff. So like, then they took me to this place where like no one was stopping from leaving, and I left right away. But and I completely forgot where I was going with this. Oh, but until then, until that point in my life, I had never even known about treatment. Like I never even knew it was a thing. Like I was so like culture shock and freaked out and they sent me like 3 hours away from my house, which looking back now was would have been a good thing. But of course that just freaked me out. And I was like, oh no, I can't be that far from my family and blah, blah, blah. And like I left right away, but that was my first introduction to treatment. Like I didn't even know treatment was a thing. I didn't even know like people recovered from. I know that sounds silly, but like everybody I knew just did drugs their whole life. Like I don't know, but
yeah, I remember going around with my friends and being like, man, the whole time we was getting high, bro, you knew about like the solution, like AA and stuff, dog. You knew about it the whole time we was getting high. I was so offended. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to quit then if they would have told me about it. You know what I'm saying? But like I didn't know there was AA and stuff until I got there, and I was like, man, there's a lot of people used to get high, don't get high no more. Man. Yeah. And at first I didn't believe them. But when I first got in there, I thought everybody got high. Yeah. I just thought the doctor was really good at getting high and being a doctor. I'm like, this dude's, man, he's talented, bro. He gets high and a doctor. Yep. I don't know how he does that. I'm an idiot.
But I remember my dad always saying my whole life, he would say like, doctors and lawyers get high. Like he would say that. And I guess he meant like something like there is some people from every group of life or whatever, every walk of life that gets high. Like in my mind, I took that as, yeah, like you said, like everybody gets high. Like the judges go chambers at recess and doing a big line of coke. And that's just what I believe. Like really heartedly believe that until I was 18 or 19.
They do it in some Kentucky towns.
Yeah. I have known a couple, but that's not the point. But
yeah,
it's just I agree. Like I was so baffled by this whole other world of like, and I didn't know about like the addict's brain and like none of that, like all that stuff that completely tremendously made a difference to me in my life and my mind and my recovery, and like that no one told me my whole life. Like,
yeah. Did you ever watch Dr. Burns Brady?
Huh? I have not. I
girl.
went
I'm
since the
have
last
to.
time you were on here. I went through some personal stuff, and then my kids got really sick, and my baby got pink eye immediately following that. So we are just
Yeah,
getting over all this actually, but
you just got to
I,
listen to it one day and wait for it.
yeah, I
Something.
have it planned. I have a little sticky note on my laptop up there that says it. Yeah,
That's funny. You'll
and
get
it's
to it
when you
eventually.
send me like you'll send me like a piece from your book or whatever, and I will like
Yeah,
not open it for like a whole day or two because I don't have time to read it right then. And I don't, if I open it
yeah,
and don't read it, it'll like go away in my messenger. So I leave it open or whatever. And, but that's why, cause I'm
yeah.
just so busy. And I have
It
three
happens.
kids, and my nephew is now, he's living out here with us, and he just turned 18. He's gonna come out here and get him a little job and help it, we're helping get on his feet. But we got so much going on, and then the podcast and work and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. And I got you three people that will do podcasts. Two of them already told me yes for sure, and
great.
they're
Yes.
all, but they all work in recovery, and so they're really involved in it. So
That's
they'll be
awesome.
good guests.
Join and I like a shout out to everybody that has helped me and all the guests that have signed up and the people that are continuing to sign up. It's doing amazing things for me too. Like it's getting me back. I kind of like went stagnant on my recovery for a while. Like I just got married and had kids and worked all the time and just threw my whole self into that. And so they like now get me back into it. I took my last peer support class today. I'm taking my test on Monday. Super excited about that. I'm gonna do the CSA certification next week. It's just 1 week, it's hours, and then from that I'm going on to do the RAD and then from there I'm going to do a CADC. So I'm super stoked. But I went out the other day and was putting out flyers for my podcast uptown, and I just walked in this little recovery center that I didn't even know was there. I went into the office and they sent me there. I asked them like where was meetings and stuff in our area, and they sent me down there. Ended up talking to somebody that is potentially going to be my supervisor when I start the RADPSS, and just they were really helpful. They do classes there. She let me hang a flyer. She let me talk to her people. There was a class going on right then, and she let me go in and talk to them. So I mean, it's just people are so supportive. People that don't even know me, like she went above and beyond to like put herself out there and volunteered, to have a conversation about potentially being advisor and all of that. And it's incredible to me how just
It's
how
good.
supportive strangers are. Like,
Yeah, strangers will clap harder for you than people that you know your whole life. And I hate that that's true, but it's true. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, my biggest supporters are not anybody I know. It's people from like different states. And, like I didn't know you, but, the second time I've been on your podcast. But like, uh, I don't know why that is, but it is that's just the way it is, it's with human nature, I guess. Uh, but, so I can't control the only thing I control is just do my job and be supportive. And I have my checklist, be kind, be helpful. Don't miss the opportunity not to be helpful.
yeah, that's a big one. Is that for me, like I said earlier, like even about sharing my story, like to help somebody helps me as much as it might help that person, because I have done so many things in my addiction that I feel like I could never pay for fully. So that's like how, or that I could never amend for because there's no real person, or the person may be gone, or different reasons. So that I kind of do things as much as I can to try to atone for my past, I guess.
Yeah. I want to read you another one if I can find it.
While
I
you're
was
looking
really
for
proud
it,
of you.
I heard this little fact statistic the other day in my peer support class, and I was like, you might enjoy it. That if you're incarcerated and you get out of jail and you do a any kind of self help meeting, AA, Celebrate Recovery, anything, the day you get out, you're 80% less likely to go back for the same thing. 80%. That's a crazy number. That's astronomical.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. 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 People in recovery are, if they're truly in recovery, some people say they're in recovery, they're not, but I'm not taking anybody else's inventory. I'll just leave it at that. But if they're really in recovery, man, they're the kindest and the most honest people who've ever they're the salt of the earth, because they're always trying to prove themselves every day.
Yeah,
And so, and they're trying to be of maximum service like God intended us to be.
absolutely.
But I found it. Ready?
Yep.
I got Burn the Ships tatted on me. And so, the whole time I've been writing, I was trying to incorporate it into a writing. So I finally figured out, I think, how to do it. But Burn the Ship is when Hernan Cortez landed on the shores of Mexico in 1519. His men were scared. They were outnumbered in a strange land, surrounded by enemies. The easy move would have been to turn back, to get on the ships and sail home. But Cortez wasn't having that. He ordered the ships destroyed, burned, sunk, stripped for parts, so there was no going back. He forced his men to move forward or die where they stood. That's commitment. That's dedication to purpose. And long before Cortez ever pulled that move, the war strategist Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War that if you want your soldiers to fight like their lives depend on it, you put them on death ground. Back to the water, no retreat, no escape. When a man's got no way out, he finds out what's really in him. He either fights or he fails. That's recovery. You can't keep your old life as a backup plan and expect to get free. You can't keep the dealer's number just in case. You can't keep that bottle hidden in the sock drawer or that lie in your back pocket for when life gets too heavy. You got to burn every ship, then take you back that can take you back to the madness. Cortez knew his men wouldn't fight for a new land while dreaming about home. You can't fight your new life while fantasizing about your old one. The only way is forward. The only way out is through. When I finally stopped playing games and turned my will over to God, it was like setting fire to every old bridge I ever crossed. It hurt. It was messy. But that's what freedom looks like. Standing on the ashes of what tried to kill you and refusing to retreat. Step 3, made a decision to turn our lives and our wills over to the care of God as we understood it. That's where the match gets lit. That's where we stop playing God and let Him steer the ship, even if it means we got to watch the old one sink. The scripture, no one who puts a hand to the plow looks back to fit for service in the kingdom of God. Luke 9:62. That's it.
Yeah, I feel that so hard because I struggle with like when I would get in the past, like when I be like on probation, so I would be trying to get clean or like faking it, and I would first get out of jail and like, if you don't like change your number or block the deal, like I don't know about the people like my deal, they would call me and then I'd be like, oh no, like I can't and I don't have no money right now anyways. And they're like, oh, we'll come down and I'll take care of you. Like they'll or like I've been if you put yourself around like I don't know, I took my brother one time when I was like trying to be clean or whatever, but like the boy just throw like oh here and just like gives it to you. I
Yeah.
don't know, like it always end up in situations like that when if you are trying to do good, it's like the devil will put temptation right in your face. Like you have to take it away. I did myself personally. I had to take it away. Like I moved 3 years away from everything I knew anything about because I could not like deal with the temptation. I couldn't take it. Everything and everybody I knew, had something to do with drugs or getting high, and so I had to get away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like there's no halfway freedom. Either you're going to go drown or you're going to stand, burn the ships, fight like your life depends on it because it really does, for real. Uh, I wouldn't go around. I can go around whatever, but like I got to check my motives if I'm going around something. You know what I'm saying? So like the big book talks about it, you're going to be asked to go do things, but what you got to check your motives. Why are you doing it? What is the goal of me going to do this thing or go around this person or, is it to be of service or do I have some hidden agenda in there,
Yep.
And so, or if I have a character defect, if I'm just wanting to be loved, like it's a girl and I'm just like, well, I just want to get some, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go get high, but that's a character defect. I'm trying to feel something different. And so when if drugs are there, well, obviously I'm trying to feel something different anyway. So I mean, like, well, that's a quick fix, So I have to really be on guard and ask myself. But
If you're not careful, yeah, like we all can. If the simplest thing as addicts, like we can convince ourselves sometimes that like it's okay to to be in certain, like, oh, I can handle it, I won't do it, or like, but you never know how you're gonna, and like in that moment, you could get a bad phone call right, right before you walk into the house that, your grandmother passed away, or anything could happen, you know what I mean? And then you walk in there and you're already, like, so you're already trying to feel different. So it's already very risky to begin with. And now
Yeah.
you're
If
upset.
you're already talking to yourself that I'm not going to do that, you're going to do it. I don't know anybody that's ever like 100% succeeded in not doing it.
Yeah,
Come on,
we had
man.
comments that I didn't see. I had the screen enlarged, but someone said, like Brandon Novak was told, drinking and drugging is not the problem. That's the solution. The problem is our thinking, our attitude, and our behavior. And then someone, or it might have been the same person. It just says Facebook user says, I like that story about the seed being planted. I did as well. Yep, and I
You like
think
the
like
story about the what?
the seed being planted, and I agree. Like I think
Oh,
like
yeah.
how you said he planted the seed, and then like you had to go stand in the line for the payment. Like
Oh,
God
yeah.
made it to where you have the time for, because you weren't going to listen to that guy. Like you said, screw you, dude. I need cigarettes or whatever. But like God made it to where you had to have the time to reflect on it, and then by the time your chance came, like you were like, fuck,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
like
God's. Yeah. God is gets all the credit. And before, when I first got sober, I would take some of the credit. You know what I mean? But now I'm real. I'm like not gonna. I'm gonna make sure that he gets all the credit.
Yeah. He deserves
I
it.
didn't do.
Without him, I wouldn't have the strength to walk away from some of the situations that I have. There's no other explanation. Like people that say they don't believe in God or what, everyone's entitled to their own beliefs. I'm not pushing my belief on anybody, but for myself, like I have had experiences that there's no other explanation for, like that just don't make any kind of logical sense except for a higher power. So you
Yeah,
correct me.
and I used to be that way. I don't push my views on anybody, and I still don't really. But I'm like, son, you better. But now I'm starting to get conflicted in my conscience about it for real. And I was big AA. I don't go to AA anymore. I mean, I would go to AA if anybody asked me to go to AA. Like AA saved my life. It gave me the tools to succeed. But my relapse, before my relapse, God was the biggest opinion in my life, and my relapse gave me God is the biggest fact in my life. So I, I'm really here lately, and I have a buddy who's humongous Christian. Like he's been with the Healing Place with him. He's a member of Southeast Christian. Like he does the thing, but he goes, hey, and he was like, we're talking about it, and even I'm like, man, man, you better get. There's only one God, and he came on earth and he really just gave us a blueprint on how to live. Right? He just walked around, and this is recovery. Like he walked around and just did the next right thing. That's what he did all day long. Like he would just walk, and if something could come on his path, he would just do what was right that in that moment. You know, he gave us a blueprint on how to live. And Bill Wilson gave us steps on how to get there. Because we can't really do the next right thing if we have selfish motives and we're always self-seeking and we're not caring about anything. We're not only worried about ourselves. Like upon awakening, I was still reading every morning at page 86 in the big book. Uh, uh, we got to be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, and we can't be a maximum service until we start doing all those things. So that's why I wrote my book, the second one, a friend of a carpenter and a guy named Bill, because man, those are the two most influential. And so, you there? Am I breaking up?
Yeah, you got really like started like breaking up real bad, but I muted you and turned you back on right away, and it
Okay.
so.
No, yeah.
But
But Bill
I
W.
wanted
and
to,
Jesus saved my life.
yeah, go ahead. You can keep talking. I just wanted to show the cover of your book and stuff because we've only got about 8 more
Okay.
minutes. So I wanted to
All
go
right.
ahead, and we'll also put the link on in the description like I did last time. So here is, oh wait, where'd you go? All right.
Yeah.
Is
And
the book.
this weekend, the other cover that I showed you is going to be on there.
Yes, I
But
wonder if I can get that.
but
Show that. That
it's
like
not easily done to put your own. I mean, you can design your own cover, right? But like, if you really just use your whole image, then it's not as easy as you think.
and I just assumed that that was something that you taught something different every day. Like I knew that, or I did not know that. I thought like, you wrote the book, you picked the cover art, but apparently that's not the case. But
Well, I
so
picked the
your
cover
book,
art
your
like
new
there's
book
a.
is
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was
Your
just
new
gonna
book.
say,
Yeah.
how does it compare to the flip side? Is it the same type of thing, like a collection of the testimonials, or is it?
Yeah. Well, flip side more testimonial, and this is uh more storytelling, I guess. I don't know. Really, it's more of I really do a step connection and a Bible connection and everything that I write. And like burn the ships. And I got one about Bruce Lee and his philosophy, and I intertwine it with recovery on like moving correctly. He said Bruce Lee once said, "Moving fast or being fast is not moving fast; it's moving correctly." And like I was like, "Bro, that's recovery right there." So I'm
Of
gonna
course,
quote Bruce Lee,
I
but
love it. How
and then I write about it.
take little things from life, like, and I think really that is like what I find relatable about your writings is that it's about everyday things. Like you'll take something so not even about recovery, but you make it so relatable that now all the Bruce Lee fans are gonna relate to that. Like that, and you took that was so far from recovery and made it relate in a way that will grab people. I've said this before. I don't know if I said it to you, but I said it before you got on today. I truly, truly think that when the right people find your book, it's going to be the next big piece of recovery. You're like, we have the A book and the basic text and all of that. Like, I truly believe it may not even be like in our lifetime, but I really believe that your book will be like a standard recovery literature. Like, it is so relatable. It's so inspirational. I love how you inspirational. It's not even, I love how you, like I said, that you take everyday things and you write the scripture in there. Like you sneak it in, to where it flows. Like everything flows. It's not like you're cramming scripture or you're cramming like steps down people's throat. I've never felt that way. Any of the readings, like I never felt like you were like pushing or cramming. Like it just flows. Like it's just lessons, and I love it. Like I really do.
Yeah, Henry Ford once said the most valuable commodity in this world is experience. And unfortunately, I have a lot of experience in making wrong choices.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting around and it was like I was reading about maximum service and how could you do that, and what does that truly mean? And so I was like, man, like, because there's times where I feel like I'm just because I don't want to be a know-it-all or anything like that, and it's coming from a good place. But even though you come from a good place and you're trying to be righteous, even though you're not righteous, okay, nobody is, but like you're trying just to be good and to give a positive a message out there. There's always people that are like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, I'm not trying to, you know, but that's their stuff. I can't worry about it, But
Yeah.
that's easy to say that and then actually play it out. I have to inventory that all the time. Like
Yeah.
I can't put expectations on people or situations, and I can't let it steal my sunshine. All day. It's gonna steal it sometimes. You know what I mean? Just I don't let it steal it all day long.
Yes. I'm bad for that as well. I think people should like act the way that they're supposed to act, or they should, or that I feel that they're supposed to or should act. And like even like in situations, like I will get so mad when people don't do like what I think they should do, because and I have to, yeah, I have to check myself a lot on that because I'm like, you can't control people, and we can't let, and then
Yeah,
like when they don't do what we want, we can't let that affect us to the point of like affecting us. So I do have to call myself out on my crap all the time for that because I want everything to just go the way I want it to go. Like whether it is the right way or if there is even a right way, like my way is the right way. I'm very stubborn and I have to I have to keep myself in check sometimes because
yeah, and some people are just mean. You know what I'm saying? And so But whatever we go through, there's some guy that lived 2,000 years ago, and he had to put up with a bunch of crap. And he was like bringing people back from the dead. And then people were still like, well, we got to kill you anyways, because we just, you're just too, no, you just don't fit you don't fit in our box or, and so I always put that in perspective, but it doesn't make it any easier knowing that. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it's just like,
Yeah.
okay. You know what I mean? It's the struggle is real. The struggle is real.
Like, it's really hard for me to accept things that, that we can't control, and to admit that we can't control them, and that like we can't make, like I'm bad for, like I want to hone in like on somebody on the right thing, and I want to like hurt them to death until and we can't do that. We can't, we can't let it first affect us to that point, and second off, we can't, I don't know, I can't I will stress myself out to death if I let myself do that, like, and over something that has nothing.
Yeah, that's why I always try to keep it on me as best I can, and I have to watch to make sure that I inventory that all the time too. Like, I can't fix anybody. Nobody likes to be told what to do. I gotta just fix me.
Yeah. And they're not going to listen anyways, and that's going to make me mad too, because I wouldn't listen. You couldn't tell me nothing in my moment, so I know they're not going to listen, and that's going to make me mad too. So we have to really learn how to.
This is what I did. Yeah.
And make our own choices.
Yeah. Well, but all right.
Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. And I'm really glad to help you anytime to help you promote your book. And thank you so much for sending me the articles that you do. Anybody watching, I'm gonna do some TikTok lives where I read some of Josh's articles out of his books, and we talk about it. And if we get lucky, he may pop in on us one day. So anybody that's interested in hearing more about things that he wrote or anything to do with him, check us out there. And maybe one day he'll be back here sometime. Until then, thank you so much. And
I got to give a shout out to my Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's my new sponsor. I have Mr. Miyagi, the first one, so I know he'll watch this. And so, Obi-Wan, I love you. That's Obi-Wan. Glenn C is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my pen ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem damn bad. I gotta keep on chugging,